look at the wider implications of the U.S.-India trade deal. We bring in Nisha Biswal, former U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs. She oversaw the U.S.-India strategic partnership, including the launch of an annual strategic and commercial dialogue. Nisha, good to have you with us. We heard Shruti saying it is a win-win. Are you confident it is? I mean, the skeptic in me says perhaps it's just smoke and mirrors.
Well, Haslinda, I think this is a moment that we have been waiting on for quite a long time. Certainly, the past year has been one where negotiators, both in the U.S. and India, worked feverishly to get us to this point where we could have a phase one deal. And let's remember that this is not an FTA, as was announced between the EU and India last week. This is a phase one trade deal, and there are many additional areas for negotiation. But look, as someone who's been working on U.S.-India ties for nearly 3 decades, I will just say that it has been a long time coming to see the U.S. and India be able to forge this agreement, and to see India with the EU deal, with the UK deal, really turn its back on decades of a more protectionist approach to trade and actually embrace much more of a global trade posture. And I think that that is really remarkable and something to celebrate.
Nisha, what were the U.S. objectives in this trade deal with India, and how far do you think those objectives were achieved?
Well, I think there were a few different objectives and some still in the works, but certainly trying to expand market access into the Indian market, bringing down tariffs. You heard the president in his post mention that they were looking to bring tariffs down to zero in many of the tariff lines. We'll wait to see what the details are, but that I think is remarkable. Secondly, I think to address a number of non-tariff barriers and, make sure that there is a level playing field between the U.S. and India for U.S. companies that are operating in and investing in India. And I think that getting to a free trade agreement over the next several years with this phase one agreement being a strong launchpad can really help align the Indian and U.S. economy to deepen trade and investment in both directions.